Hey, what's up, everybody? So I got to sit down with Chris Bertish after he did his Trans Pac Wing Project, and I was just awe-inspired, and I am so excited to present you guys this interview. To make things easier, there is a 36-minute version on YouTube, and I know a lot of people can't sit through a 36-minute video, so I made a super short one here and condensed everything we talked about with a link to the longer one if you guys want. But this is like mind-blowing stuff, and I was so stoked to do that. So enjoy. Very, very cool stuff.
Sometimes you just got to wing it.
You just got to wing it.
Go on an adventure and then remind yourself all the things you take for granted in life.
Yeah.
Because the more you push yourself and the further you push yourself and the further you push yourself closer to the extreme
Preparation and work and logistics goes into and testing this thing out numerous times. And when you're finally setting sail, it's like almost half of the journey might be already in the books, or am I underestimating that a little?
No, definitely underestimating that a lot.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I asked.
Yeah, you know, it's you sort of break it down into sort of first 36 hours. Then it's like, okay, if I can get through the first 72 hours instead of the first 36 hours, then and everything's still working correctly, then I can look at possibly taking a right across the ocean instead of 50 to 100 miles offshore. Then you've got to be completely self-sufficient, and that becomes a whole different world.
You have to dumb this down a little bit that normal people like us can grasp this. 48 days on the water.
Yeah, 48 days, 15 hours.
On the water, yes.
Night, and the nights. People say 48 days. It's
you're
like,
right.
yes,
It's the night. I know.
But the
Oh
nights
my gosh,
are
I can.
even more scary to survive. So the key systems in order to survive, as in food, water, and shelter, communications, I always have a minimum of 3 systems in place. So I have a backup of a backup of a backup of every single major system.
Wow.
And in order to survive doing these kind of journeys, you have to have that, if not more. 5 different SATCOM devices. 5. And by the time I got here, after 48 and a half days, I was on the last one item.
So gnarly.
The charging port on that item had failed. I was on 17%, and then when that went flat, that was all. So 5 different devices. I had a GPS tracker, I had a backup GPS tracker, I had the InReach Garmin Explorer, I had the main Intellian C700, and then I had a BGAN system. And every single one of them failed at different levels of the journey.
Well, here's one thing. If I ever become rich and I have a yacht and I sail the world, I want you to be there.
But then, as an example, a week before I finished, the hydrocharger actually that we built into the back of the system, and we reinforced the stern in Scotland before it got sent over, that actually put so much load on the back of the craft because I was going faster in the last 2 weeks than we anticipated, that it pulled the actual stern apart, and I started sinking because there was water going in through the stern.
This can fill a whole evening, by the way. You can peel back so many layers here. How is a mental challenge in something like this?
So there are 2 parts of it. There's the mental challenge of it, and then there's also like, yes, anybody can get all the insights from someone like myself who's done it and get the craft built in that way.
Yeah.
To be able to make it successful. But there's always going to be stuff that's going to go wrong. Like no matter.
Yeah, and you need to have the mental strength and the savviness to go. You just don't jump on this and say like, "Oh, I'll have all the hardware in place. Let's go do it."
Yeah, and things are going to go wrong. So you just got to figure out like what you can build in its place when things go wrong, to be able to find a solution, get creative. So,
yeah, and you just stand holding the wing. How big the wing? 4.5.
I had 5.5, 4.5, 3.5, 2.5.
Okay, so you had to hold.
And then I had backups of that, but none of these wings you can buy in the shop.
Okay.
Every single thing on this craft is bespoke, made, once off. There's only one in the world of every single item, including the wings.
Wow.
The wings Army built for me specifically for the project with special tack points on it that I could hook things up, add things on, all Mylar reinforced, carbon reinforced, so they were bulletproof. Literally.
So let me ask you this: were you sailing tow side or were you sailing regular side? Or
I was actually regular, but I can't sail tow side. So, but I can on this. Do what you need to in order to survive. But yeah, you're standing. It's like, but you're balancing. So a lot of people don't realize that when you get fatigued, the first thing that goes is your balance, which is fine. Which is fine when you're sitting down, but when you're standing up, that's a problem, especially at night. And the first thing that goes when you lose your horizon, when the sun goes down and the lights go out,
and it's all bouncy
is
there.
your balance. So those two things make things quite challenging.
So you stood in the dark there with your wing in your hand as well?
I did, but it got too dangerous because I was hooked into my harness. So see, when we go off the landing, go winging or stand-up paddleboarding or foiling or whatever, is all within 2 miles roughly.
Yeah.
When you go 5 to 10 miles or more offshore, it's a whole nother world, and the ocean becomes a completely different place. It's like going to the moon, and everything is exaggerated tenfold. And we want, as windsurfers, kiters, wingers, and that kind of stuff, and downwinding on a SUP, we want 45, 30 knots. But in the open ocean, you don't want 30 knots, because 30 knots over an extended period of time creates seas that are really terrifying. And that's what creates your 15 to 20 foot waves. And that's, you don't want that, because a 10 to 15 or 15 to 20 foot swell that caps, when it caps, you've got a 5 to 6 foot breaking wave at the top that will roll you. And
as you're still watching this, I am just absolutely fascinated and baffled. And now we're going to have to ask one question: is why are you actually doing that? What?
I'm a little different to a lot of people. Like, for me,
frankly,
for me, it's not really about records, because everything I do has never been done before. So, like, whatever I do is going to be unique, and I try and do stuff that is so far beyond whatever has been done before that it's just
pushing your
sort
limits.
of another stratosphere. So it's not about records for me. It's just about using what I do as a platform for positive change, and using it as to be able to give back, to inspire people to believe in themselves, what's possible, to be able to make people go, wow, okay, maybe I need to go out and do it, whatever.
Or maybe somebody's watching this and is like, hey, I want to help support this. Not just click a like button, because that helps also supporting like buttons and all of that. But
yeah, everybody wants to like and think it's cool,
but likes don't pay bills. So how's your foundation, and what's all of that, and the business of this whole thing?
Ambassador for Sea Shepherd, which protects illegal fishing. So everything that I do is really highlighting these sort of issues, bringing attention to them, because I think a lot of people aren't aware how much of a challenge and what a crisis we're dealing with out there. I saw, I was collecting data for citizen science for education for the Hawaii University as well.
Cool.
And samples for microplastics as well, and then collecting certain items that I found on my journey. And I collected I spotted 79 pieces of ocean pollution, mostly polystyrene packaging, and I only saw 9 fish.
Wow, I mean, like, I'm really blown away. Like, after talking to you, like, I'm nothing, nobody's anybody, he's the man.
We all try. It's all really about, like, thinking about what we can all do.
Like, how much can you pack into your life? Like, everybody's busy and wants to do something, but that, like, how much can you pack into your life? And you're like, leaks here. Can we get something leaked?
It's called the Ocean 17 Project, and it does go around the world across multiple different platforms, multiple different sports, and it all connects into the 17 SDGs.
I'll get to see you again, and we'll talk here again.
Sounds good.
All right, very cool. Well, thank you guys so much for watching, and I mean, if you're not blown away, I'm definitely blown away. Thanks for blowing us away.
Pleasure.